Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're live on Facebook. Good to see you all. I'm going to go ahead and mute, but before I mute, just everyone wish each other a good Shabbos. Wave to each other.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
Shalom.
To everybody. God bless you all.
God bless everyone. And
Shalom.
we mute now. There we go. And then Cantor, if you could just unmute yourself. And so good Shabbos to everyone. We start on page 16 with Shalom Aleichem. And I just want to suggest a new kind of translation for Shalom, that why don't we look at Shalom tonight as a way of pleasantness, that the word Shalom means to be pleasant, to uplift, and to give feelings of good pleasantness and good, pleasant, and sweet feelings. So when we kind of look at Shalom Aleichem, that we wish each other sweetness and pleasantness as we enter into this Shabbat. Many of us have gone through, it's been a long week, it's been a long month, it's been a long year. So we look at ways to increase joy, and one way to increase joy in other people's lives is to increase our own sweetness and pleasant feelings. And one thing to do that we can help each other is to wish that on each other. So we continue and we start with Shalom Aleichem.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Malach, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bothem l'shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni l'shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malchei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn now to page 38 for Lecha Dodi. It used to be that some folks would dress in white and go out into the field and greet the Sabbath bride in that manner. Today, we just sing this song, so we don't need to all dress in white and head out to the field, but that we should at least look at this as a way to express that today is different. Today is a spiritual day, not just a day where we do whatever we normally do. We make it just a little different. Bishanui, a little different on Shabbat. Page 38.
When we get to the verse for Boi v'Shalom, we'll all rise. It's also a time in the synagogue when the congregation turns to the doorway of the sanctuary and welcomes the mourners. I'd like to acknowledge that we welcome Tom and Sherry Mendelson and Jody, and recognize the loss of Tom's mother this week. Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Ishmianu el hamilchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litila Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla. We rise. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha uv'sachala toch emunei am segula Boi chala Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla.
As we prepare for the evening service on page 50, we turn our attention to the Ma'ariv Aravim, Lord of night and day. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, whose words bring on the dusk of evening.
El Chai v'Kayam Amidim lo chalenu leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Amahariv Aravim.
With an everlasting love, you have loved the house of Israel, teaching us your Torah, its mitzvot, laws, and judgments. Ahavat olam.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot ukimu mishpatim otanu limadita Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'bekumeinu nasiach belkecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha, ubechol nafshecha, ubechol meodecha, vehayu hadvarim ha'eleh, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom alevavecha, veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, beshivtecha b'veitecha, uvelechtecha v'derech, ushachbecha uvekumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot b'heinenecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha.
The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the children of Israel and bid them to make fringes in the corner of their garments throughout their generations, putting upon the fringes of each a corner a thread of blue. When you look upon the fringes, you will be reminded of all the commandments of the Lord and obey them. You will not be led astray by the inclinations of your heart or by the attraction of your eyes. Thus will you be reminded to fulfill all my commandments and be consecrated to your God. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, am your God."
Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai vehitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lahem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet.
Page 64, we rise for Vishamru, and we enter into this prayer thinking about the importance of both ways of resting, Shabbat v'inafash, that we should cease, but also have a moment in which our soul itself can stop and pause. Vishamru.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat v'inafash, Shabbat v'inafash, Shabbat v'inafash, Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
On page 68, we remain standing, if possible, as we enter into the Mariv Amida for the Sabbath.
Adonai, Ananana Satai Tifta, Ananana Ufi Agid Tehilatecha.
Grant abundant and lasting peace to your people and to all who dwell on earth. For you are the supreme sovereign of all peace. May it please you to bless your people Israel in every season and in every hour with your peace. Praised are you, O Lord, bestower of peace upon your people Israel.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
And we prepare for the Misha Berach for those who are in need of healing, whether mentally, physically, spiritually, in whatever capacity. We ask that you please put them in the group chat so that we know who is in need of our prayers and our energy. So we turn now to Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Makor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Misha Berach imotenu makor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. And let us say, Amen.
Yashakolach to you, Cantor, and may God send a speedy recovery for those in need. A refuah, hashlema refuah taguf, a complete and total healing soon and speedy. And let us all say, Amen. Just a few words of Torah as we enter into this holy Shabbat, this time of reflection and spirit, and a moment for us to pause. It was on my bar mitzvah, I got an electric guitar, and I started to fall in love with the instrument. And I had previously received a less valuable guitar, but this was on my 13th birthday. I received this beautiful, beautiful guitar, and I started to learn how to play. And one of the things that I really loved was the distortion pedal. And I fell in love with the likes of greats like Jimi Hendrix and Black Sabbath and different bands and groups. certainly of the 60s. And although I'm not from that generation, as you probably know, there was great talent that came out, but they really started to play with distortion. And what is great about distortion is that you can make mistakes and nobody has a clue. You can actually sound as though you are an amazing player. And if the distortion is good and loud and very on level 10, you will not know how terrible of a player I was at 13. And you can take the same song and remove the distortion and play, and it was always called, what's interesting is the clean channel. You needed to be a true master to be able to make sure that everything and every note was hit so that it was done with clarity. The thing is that when you play without distortion, that when you live without distortion, things are much more noticeable. When you don't hit the note right, it's noticeable. When you are making mistakes, it's noticeable. And what's really important is that you have to continue to practice much, much more when you're playing on the clean channel. When we look at this week's Torah portion, we see something very, very special and very, very important. Abraham, after the passing of his wife, is concerned about finding Isaac a mate, someone to share his life with. But he doesn't want to go into the land in which he is living to find a spouse, a mate, someone to share the life with his son. He can't do it. He needs to go back to a different place. He needs to go back to the place he came that he wanted to find a mate for his son from his family, from people that knew what it is that he wanted to live. He wanted to find somebody that was living the same mission statement. If you recall, Abraham left the land of his ancestors and started a new journey with him and his family. He starts this new journey, Lech Lecha, to find a new place, to find a new way in which to live, to leave everything else behind. He got rid of that. He got rid of that distortion and started to live a little bit cleaner and to live a life that could be easier for him to understand the music. And then when he gets to Canaan, and we all know the way the Canaanite land was not conducive to the life that Abraham was trying to live. And he saw there that there was a lot of distortion. Where is it in your life that you are running into different places where you are getting distorted ways of living? How many of us are spending way too much time on things like Facebook, or spending way too much time on CNN, Fox News, spending time filling our minds with things that are distorting the way we are viewing the world? How many of us are having problems because we are so focused on one thing and it becomes our identity, and we forget about living on that clean channel? If we are getting worked up, who is getting worked up? It is each and every one of us. The most important thing for Abraham was that he got his son into a relationship with someone that wasn't living that distorted life. It's too easy for us to get off track. It's too easy for us to fall into the easy path. It's too easy for us to get just a little off in a distorted way, because we don't want anyone to see the little mistakes or the problems that we're having. It's easier to cover up when we're living in distortion. So Abraham makes the decision to go back and to find somebody among his family to live a life not so distorted, to live a life that was a little bit cleaner in its clarity on how to move forward in this world. And so that's how we understand the relationship between Isaac and Rebekah. And it is no coincidence that that is the first time in which a couple, it talks about that he loved her. The word ahav, ahava, love. Isn't it true that when we truly express who we are and we aren't living distorted, isn't that how we truly get to love another person? When the masks are gone, that's how we truly find love. May we find moments in this Shabbat and in this week to come that we try hard not to be distorted in our thinking, in our feelings, and in our actions, but that we try to live just a little bit cleaner and a little bit more with clarity on what it is that our purpose is. Because ultimately that is what our purpose is. What we learned from Isaac and Rebecca, that love is the point. Shabbat Shalom. We continue our service with Aleinu, which can be found on page 118.
Please rise if you're able and so inclined. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu shehu notei shamayim ve'yoser haaretz u'moshe v'yikaro b'shamayim ha'al u'shchinatu zo begavhei meromim Hu Eloheinu ein od, emet malkeinu efesu lato, kakatu betorato, v'yadata hayom v'hashebota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, b'shamayim imha'al, Ve'al haaretz, mitachat, ein od.
For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written in your Torah. The Lord shall reign forever and ever, and it has been foretold the Lord shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day the Lord shall be one, and shall be acclaimed as one.
Kakatuv b'toratecha, Adonai imloch le'olam v'hed, v'nehemar, v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shamo echad.
We'll just take a moment as we speak about the heritage of memories, and may the memories which we cherish and lovingly now recall inspire us to live, that we too may bequeath a heritage of precious memories to those whom we shall leave behind. In tribute to our departed, may we enrich the lives we touch, may we share and preserve the faith which our mourners will now affirm as they rise to sanctify God's name in the hallowed words of the Kaddish. I just wanted to point out that this week's Torah portion, Chaye Sarah, we actually are commanded an important mitzvah that maybe we don't often realize, is that from the point in which our loved one passes away until burial is a special period called onanut. And when someone is an onan, they are not to do any positive time-bound mitzvahs in regard to maybe putting on tefillin or things like that. They are to be concerned with the burial of their loved one until the actual burial occurs. And we learn that here tonight in Abraham's story, that as soon as Sarah passes away, he is concerned about the burial. And it is not, the mourning does not start until actual burial. So I want to just take this moment as the Mendelssohns are on our Zoom this evening, is that they are in a specific time of mourning called Ananut, in which mourning practices are not observed at this point, but that they are concerned with the rites and rituals to prepare for burial. Our hearts are with you as you enter into a mourning phase. We send our love and our thoughts, and we are grateful that you are with us this evening. Baruch Dayan HaEmet. We now also, I just want to take a moment and at least just spend just 2 seconds, and I think at some point we should all rise for the Kaddish before I list the names of the yard sites. That tomorrow marks the 1-year anniversary of the Saugus shooting. It has been a year of ups and downs for all of us, and this was just one of many terrible tragedies that happens on our school campuses. But the frightening thing is that it came to our back door. It came to us. So I just wanted to read that the Jewish tradition teaches, Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa, do not stand idly by the blood of your neighbor. We long for the day that Isaiah's prophecy of beating our swords into plowshares shall become reality, and we refuse to stand by and allow another Saugus to happen. We refuse to turn a blind eye to the violence that plagues our country every day, or to forget the fact that men, women, and children are intimidated, wounded, and killed through brutal acts that are far too often ignored. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the victims and with all those who we have lost and the loved ones at the hands of senseless violence. And although it's been a year, it is still a wound that is very raw for many of us in our community. And it is something that is and continues to be a call to action that our community has met that, or has answered that call that we have asked over the past year. And we will continue to do that as a community as we move forward. So I do ask those who are mourning, please rise. And those, I think, in all of our community, for those 2 souls that were killed at Saugus, if we could all rise in respect and reverence to them. This week's yahrzeit: Ira Rosenblum, father of Robin Seppi; Charlotte Gruber, mother of Fred Gruber; Robert Winger, father of Mark Winger; Bernard Gross, father of Ronnie Cohen; Rosalind Strauss, mother of Lawrence Strauss; Theodore Burse, father of Larry Burse; Beverly Gardner, mother of John Gardner; Chester Kober, father of Leslie Ellery; Viola Coleman, father of Jeffrey Coleman; Paul Motel, father of Sue Wilkin and husband of Jerry Motel; Sonia Agul, mother of Mira Kulik; and Sonia Batnasum Lev. And I'm going to ask if Cantor Ray Cohen could lead us in the Mourner's Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalal v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'omla u'me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'elah min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemayo, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mrama, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
May God, who makes sweetness and pleasantness in the heights, grant us sweetness and pleasantness here for us, for all Israel and all humankind. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. We will conclude with Kiddush, which can be found on page 90. Want to just, what a week. Each week gets better and better as we enter into this crazy time. Although it is crazy, each and every one of us, we can see problems or we can see potential and possibility, and the choices are ours. And there are so many possibilities. As you wake up tomorrow, spend an hour thinking of all the possibilities that could possibly come. Try not to come to conclusions about what and how all of this will end, and see how long you can go before you start to come up with conclusions. So we rise on page 90. for Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'rata banu. V'shabbat kodsho b'avav ratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh. Zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava u'vratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim, Shabbat Shalom l'kulam. Let me unmute everyone so we can wish each other a good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Everybody, Monica, nice seeing you.
Shabbos, everybody.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom.